This is the story of John Pierpont Morgan, the titan who didn't just play the game of finance, he created the board. Have you ever wondered who really holds the strings of the global economy? Who are the figures powerful enough to bail out entire governments? Today, we're diving into the life of a man who did just that. He wasn't a president or a king, but a banker whose influence was so immense he literally saved the United States from financial collapse. This is the story of John Pierpont Morgan, the titan who didn't just play the game of finance, he created the board. Born in 1837 in Hartford, Connecticut, J.P. Morgan was destined for finance. His father, Junius Spencer Morgan, was already a successful international banker. From a young age, Pierpont was groomed to take over the family business. He studied in Europe, became fluent in French and German, and got a world-class education in mathematics and business. This wasn't just about learning numbers, it was about understanding the global flow of money. His apprenticeship began at his father's London branch, where he quickly proved he had an exceptional mind for complex deals and, more importantly, for seeing opportunities where others saw only risk. Morgan's rise wasn't just a matter of inheritance, it was a matter of vision. While other bankers were content with small, safe loans, Morgan thought bigger. He saw that America's explosive industrial growth in railroads, steel, and electricity needed massive amounts of capital. The problem was these industries were chaotic, filled with cutthroat competition that often led to bankruptcy. Morgan's genius was to step in and bring order. He pioneered a process that would be called Morganization. He would take over warring companies, consolidate them into a single, massive corporation, slash inefficiencies, and install his own trusted people on the board. He wasn't just a lender. He was an architect, building stable, profitable empires out of industrial chaos. His most famous creations are still household names today. He was the driving force behind the formation of General Electric, consolidating Thomas Edison's various ventures into one powerhouse that would electrify America. Think about that. Every time you flip a light switch, you're experiencing a part of Morgan's legacy. But his most audacious move was yet to come. In 1901, he purchased Carnegie Steel from Andrew Carnegie for a staggering $480 million, that's over $15 billion in today's money. He then merged it with other steel companies to create U.S. Steel, the world's first billion-dollar corporation. This single company controlled over 60% of the nation's steel production, a testament to Morgan's unparalleled ability to consolidate power and capital. But Morgan's influence extended far beyond boardrooms. He became America's unofficial central banker before the Federal Reserve even existed. Twice, the U.S. government found itself on the brink of financial ruin, and twice it turned to J.P. Morgan. The first time was during the Panic of 1893, when the government's gold reserves were dangerously low. Morgan organized a syndicate of bankers to supply the U.S. Treasury with over $65 million in gold, effectively saving the nation from default. He did it again during the Panic of 1907. As banks failed and the stock market crashed, there was no federal institution to stop the bleeding. So, Morgan took charge. He summoned the country's top financiers to his library on Madison Avenue, locked the doors, and refused to let them leave until they had pledged enough of their own money to stabilize the markets. He single-handedly organized a bailout, deciding which firms would survive and which would fail. It was an incredible display of private power, but it also highlighted a major problem. The US economy was too dependent on the will of one man. The crisis directly led to the creation of the Federal Reserve System in 1913, an institution designed to do the job Morgan had done himself. Beyond banking, Morgan was a man of immense culture and taste. He was one of the greatest art collectors of his era, amassing a collection of paintings, manuscripts, and historical artifacts that was simply breathtaking. He didn't just buy art, he bought entire collections from struggling European aristocrats. His passion was so great that he built the Morgan Library and Museum in New York City to house his treasures, creating a public legacy that endures to this day. He was a major benefactor to the Metropolitan Museum of Art and the American Museum of Natural History, shaping the cultural landscape of New York as profoundly as he shaped its financial one. His famous yacht, the Corsair, was a symbol of his Statusa floating palace where business deals and high society mingled. However, Morgan's legacy is complex. To his admirers, he was a patriot, a financial statesman who brought stability and strength to American industry. They argue that his consolidations were necessary to build companies that could compete on a global scale. He was the ultimate capitalist, creating efficiency and value where there was once chaos and waste. But to his critics, he was the ultimate robber baron. They saw him as a monopolist who crushed competition, controlled politicians, and concentrated an unhealthy amount of wealth and power into the hands of a select few. He was famously interrogated by Congress, where his unapologetic belief in his right to control markets made him a symbol of Wall Street's unchecked power. When asked if commercial credit was based on money or property, Morgan famously replied, "No, sir. The first thing is character. A man I do not trust could not get money from me on all the bonds in Christendom." So, how should we remember J.P. Morgan? Was he a savior or a shark? The truth, as it often is, lies somewhere in the middle. He was a product of his time and era of unrestrained capitalism, where titans of industry reshaped the world. His actions were bold, decisive, and often ruthless. He stabilized the American economy at critical moments. But he did so by accumulating a level of power that would be unimaginable and likely illegal today. He built corporate empires that powered America into the 20th century. But he also created monopolies that squeezed out smaller players. His story is a powerful reminder that the line between a captain of industry and a robber baron is often a matter of perspective. His life forces us to ask fundamental questions about the role of finance, the concentration of wealth, and the relationship between private power and public good. The financial world we live in today, with its central banks, massive corporations, and complex global markets, was forged in the crucible of Morgan's ambition. He didn't just shape American finance. In many ways, he invented it. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the life of one of history's most powerful figures. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the lives that shaped our world. Let me know in the comments what you think of JP Morgan's legacy. See you in the next video.